What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into the ABH NORVINA Volume 3 palette. I am super duper pumped for this video because, as you can see, I've already filmed one look, and this might be my favorite look that I filmed maybe in months. Maybe longer than that. I don't know. I'm really digging how this came out. I haven't filmed the other two yet, but like I have really high hopes because this palette so far has been a delight to work with. So I'm pumped today, and I hope you're pumped too. I will also timestamp all of the looks if you want to jump from one to the other, if there's a particular one that you want to follow along with. I will list all of the products that I used in the video, including but not limited to this palette, in the description down below. I don't really know what else is going on today. What else do I gotta let you know about? Is there anything? I don't think there is. Oh, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second to do that, because I find it very helpful and I would really appreciate it. And also, if you are somewhat new around here and perhaps you've watched a few of my videos, you've enjoyed them, but you have not quite subscribed just yet, I would love to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to see more of this face. There is not a whole ton to discuss before we get into it today, so let's not waste any time. We'll jump in to look number 1 with NORVINA Volume 3, which I think is the final one in this collection, which makes me a little bit sad. My soul is crying tiny tears, but you know what? We still have the palettes. We can play with them more. It's gonna be all right. Let's get into look number 1. So this is Volume 3, and in my opinion, the inside of Volume 3, the color story that we have going on here, and I think NORVINA herself said this, is definitely the most fall-esque of the collection. I know we were able to get some really nice fall looks out of Volume 1. I even did a whole video on fall looks with NORVINA Volume 1, but as far as which ones are set up for fall looks, this is that girl. So the other day, it was like a nice fall day. It was really chilly outside. It was nice crisp air. Matt and I were both taking the day off, so we went to like a little apple farm to get some fall stuff. I took some pictures of all of the different types of apples laying in the bin. This particular, I don't know what kind of apple it was. It looks kind of like a Honeycrisp or something, but the combination of colors in this particular apple, I really liked it. So I want to do my first look based on that as like the color inspo. To start, I'm going to grab a MAC 217 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade B3, which is like a nice bright berry pinkish shade. And I'm going to put that through the upper part of my crease. I'm going to start by packing it down with just patting motions, and then we'll blend after. I've noticed that with these like super pigmented shadows, that's kind of the best way to do it, because sometimes if you start like using little blending motions, it does start the blending process for you, but it also kind of spreads things a little bit further sometimes than you want them to. I'm gonna blend the edge of that with a clean brush. I'm gonna grab my MAC 221S brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade C2. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that under where we put down the more pink shade, just a little bit. I'm gonna grab this Luxie 121 mini brush, kind of small, but it also is one of those brushes where you can pack with it, but you can also blend a little with it, which makes it very convenient. So I'm gonna go into the shade C4. I'm gonna pack that on the outer corner of the eye, and kind of just bringing that out at an angle to meet the end of where we put that other color down. And I'm gonna blend the edge of that with the MAC 221 brush that we used for the red shade. I'm gonna pack some of C4 onto the inner corner as well, and just bring that through the center of the crease too. These colors are c'est magnifique. My compliments to the chef. Absolutely delicious. Now that all of these beautiful reds are down, I'm gonna jump into some greens. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to make the greens pop and also blend them into the rest of this look, but I think that we can make it work. And one other thing that's gonna help us is I'm gonna make a little bit of a spotlight cut in the center. So I'm taking a little bit of very light concealer on my NABLA Cut Crease Maker brush, and I'm just going to stamp a little cut right in the center above my natural crease with the shape of that brush. For For the very, very center of that bright spotlight area, I'm gonna go into A1, and I'm taking that on a MAC 272 brush. I'm just gonna put that right in the center portion. Bringing that right up to the top of that concealer. I'm gonna take that same brush, and right next to that shade, I'm gonna go into A4, which is also a very bright green, but a little bit deeper. I'm just gonna tap around the edge of that. I'm gonna grab my NABLA Lash Line Smudger brush because it's nice and small, so it's good to get in there for a little bit of detail. And I'm gonna go into the shade E2. And I think this will be good to bridge the gap between the green and the more red shades, because green and red makes brown, fun fact. And this is like a reddish brown, so it's right in there. Tap that right along the edge of where we put those other shades down. And once I start on the lower lash line, I want this to become a little bit more pointed on the outer edge, and just like the way I blended it down, it's not really lending itself to that shape. I haven't really gotten much fallout underneath my eye from this look, but I'm still going to take my little makeup wipe. This is, by the way, the only thing I use makeup wipes for. I don't actually use them to remove my makeup. Just gonna sweep under the eye with it, and then just sweep right up at the angle of the lower lash line to just wipe away anything we brought down too far. Even just doing that on its own, I feel like makes the look that much better. You ever notice that after you conceal underneath your eyes, like everything just all of a sudden looks so much better? It's so good, it's so satisfying. So I'm gonna take the Luxie 121 brush because I like the angle shape of it, and I'm gonna go into the first shade that we used earlier, B3. And I'm gonna start working on the lower lashes with that. Obviously, as you guys can see, I put some powder and concealer down, so I'm just gonna put that under the lower lash line and bring it up toward what we did on the top. On a pencil brush, I'm gonna go back into C4. I'm gonna put that along lower lashes as well, just keeping a little bit closer to the lash line this time, but pretty much doing the same thing. I think what makes the most sense to me is doing a purpley burgundy in the waterline, so I'm going to grab Alkaline from Urban Decay. Just gonna run that right through. That way it's like in the same color family as what we've been using, but like dark and deep and sultry and sexy. And on a clean pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade C1. But when it hits the skin, it has like a little bit of like a duochrome thing going on in it. It's very pretty. I'm just gonna pop that on the inner corner, but I'm not gonna bring it up onto the top portion of the lid. So just like the immediate tear duct and then under. I'm gonna go see if I could get this eye to match this one a little bit better, finish the underneath, do some skin, and then we will finish this up by adding a lip to the look. I put on House of Lashes Stella Luxe. As always, I'll list all of my lashes and all of the things that I use on my skin in the description down below. I know I repeat that every time, but if you're new, then you're not gonna know, so I gotta keep saying it. For the lip, I think this is gonna pair really well with a matte nude today. So I'm gonna grab my NABLA lip pencil in the color Body Language, which I have sharpened it down to an absolute nubbin. And I'm gonna fill that with a Fenty Stunna lip paint in the shade Unbutton. And this is the first look. I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite look that I've done in a long time. I'm actually pissed that I have to take it off to do more looks, but hopefully those looks will be just as good because the colors in here are pretty sweet, delish. But yeah, this is the first one. For look number 2, I want to do one of my favorite color combinations. Whenever I see a palette makes it possible for me to do this combo, I always am too tempted not to. That combo, in case you're wondering, is reds and burgundies with more turquoise tones. So I'm gonna start with red and go into the shade C2. I'm just gonna pack that right around the crease and grab a small clean blending brush and blend the edge of that out a bit. Into the same shade on my Luxie 121 brush, I'm just gonna pack that on the outer corner of the eye a little bit as well. That'll help us with the gradient we're gonna create later. I'm gonna take a little bit of concealer on my NABLA Cut Crease Maker brush, and I don't even really want to do or feel the need to do like a cut crease in this, but I do want to create a clean space on the inner corner of the lid, but I'm really only doing the inner corner and then blend it out. On my flat MAC 272 brush, I'm gonna go into the shade C5, which is this beautiful greenish turquoise shimmer with a little bit of gold in it. It's real pretty. I already swatched it to play around with it a little bit and I was impressed. I'm gonna pop that right where we put that concealer down on the inner corner. This is dry, by the way. Again, these shimmers are phenomenal. I have more room to play with than I was anticipating, so I'm gonna go into the shade B1, which is also kind of bluish turquoise, but more on the blue side. And I'm just gonna pop that right next to where we put down C5. I'm gonna go right into E5 on that same brush. I just cleaned it off on a sponge, and I'm going to put that down next to the blue shade B1, right there. Be our little bridge between the blues, turquoisey shades, whatever you want to call them, and the reds that we used on the crease and what we were going to use to deepen up the outer corner. Speaking of which, I'm going to take my MAC 221 brush and I'm going to go into a little bit of C4. I'm just going to pop that right on the outer corner. And on my Sigma E36, I'm going to take a little bit more of that and just use it to define the very outermost portion of the crease. I concealed and powdered under my eyes, and now I'm going to start working on the lower lashes. So I'm going to go into the shade E3. Why? I don't know. I haven't used this color yet, and I think that maybe it's nice. And I'm going to put that underneath my lower lash line. I'm going to blend the edge of that out with a clean blending brush. I'm going to grab my Sigma E85. It's a little angle brush, and I'm going to go into the shade C4. I'm going to put that underneath the outer portion of the lower lashes so we can just like connect that up to the top. For the waterline, I'm going to pick up these shades a little bit more and match them in the waterline. So I'm going to use Urban Decay pencil in the color Deep End, a classic. Should probably sharpen it first so I don't stab my eye out of my own head. I'm going to run that through my waterline. And to highlight the inner corner, I'm gonna go back into C1 again. I was thinking about using one of the other shimmers in here, but I don't think those are gonna play as nicely with the teal, so I'm gonna go with this one, and we'll use one of the other ones in the next look. That's why we do 3, so we have variety. Pop that right on the inner corner with my Luxie 111 Mini. I'm gonna go finish up this eye, add some lashes, and then we'll add a delectable little lip to this look. I'm just waiting for my lash glue to dry, and while I'm doing that, I figured it would be cute to put a, pardon me, just looking for my lash glue. It'd be cute to put one little inner corner rhinestone like on the lower portion, like right here in the tear duct. I think that'd be really cute. So I'm gonna use clear rhinestones. I'm just gonna stick one on each side with my House of Lashes clear glue. Don't look at this, it's disgusting. This is an old one. Okay, House of Lashes Stella Luxe again. Just touched up the skin with the same stuff I used the first time. And for the lip, I do feel like some juiciness is required here. However, I'm not thinking juicy nude. I'm thinking just juicy berry, maybe? I feel like that would go along with this pretty well. So I'm gonna line it with this mauvish tone. This is Melrose from NABLA. And I'm gonna grab the MAC Cherry Mochi Lip Gloss from the Boom Boom Bloom collection. And this is the second look. So for look number 3, this is gonna be the most wearable of the bunch because I do think that of the 3 palettes, this is like the most feasible if you're looking for one of these to be your daily palette. So we're gonna go into the luscious fall tones in this, but that are more in the neutral category. So with my BH number 5, I'm gonna start by going into shade A3. It's kind of like a little acorn shade. I'm just projecting my thoughts of fall onto the colors of this palette. Put that right around the crease, maybe a little higher. Ooh. That's even nicer on the lid than I was expecting it to be. Okay. I'm gonna blend the edge of that with a clean brush. I'm also gonna bring a little of that shade down onto the outside of the lid. To deepen it a little bit, I'm gonna pick up my MAC 221 and I'm gonna go into the shade D1, which is just a similar tone, just a little bit darker. Just gonna pop that on the outermost portion and through the crease. Next on my Sigma E36, I'm gonna go into the shade E2, which is this deeper brown shade we used earlier. I'm gonna use that and an even more concentrated spot, just giving a little definition around the outside. I'm gonna take a flat brush. This is just a NABLA soft dab and smudge brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade D4. I was playing with D4 yesterday. That is like the pumpkin spice shimmer of your dreams. That's what that shade is. Hold on, you'll see in just a sec. Just gonna push that over the whole lid on that brush. I'm gonna take my Sigma E36 and go back in with a little bit more of E2 again, just to keep blending and deepening it further. I'm gonna take my finger and go into the shade D2, just really light kind of peachy champagne shimmer. I'm gonna pop that right in the center of the lid. It's just gonna highlight and brighten up that pumpkin goodness. Oh, speaking of pumpkin, so I know we talked about our favorite fall Starbucks drinks a few videos ago, and I was saying I'm not a super huge pumpkin spice fan because I'm not. I don't really like a PSL. It's too sweet, but I have discovered a new pumpkin drink. If you follow me on Instagram and watch my stories, you already know, but it's the pumpkin cream cold brew. But because I don't like it that sweet, I have them not put the vanilla syrup in the cold brew. So that way the only sweetness is the little bit of like pumpkin spice foam on the top that's really subtle and it just mixes with the strong coffee taste of the cold brew. And oh my God, it's so delicious. Absolute perfection. Please try it and let me know what you think. It is my favorite thing right now. I'm gonna take my NABLA Precision Soft Crease Brush. I also concealed underneath my eyes. And I am gonna go into the shade C3, not because we need to change colors, but because we haven't used that one yet. And I figure might as well use as many as we can. And sweep it underneath the lash line. And I'm gonna bring that almost all the way into the tear duct, but just not quite. I actually really like the subtle differences between the undertones of the neutrals in this palette. Like this one is so yellowy and this one is just a little bit red. And they're like so similar in the pen, but they're still different. I really enjoy that. I'm gonna take a little MAC 228S brush and I'm gonna go into the shade E2 that we used earlier. I'm gonna use that to define the outer portion of the lower lashes a bit. I'm gonna take my Luxie 111 Mini and I'm gonna grab a white gel eyeliner and I'm gonna use this as a base for my inner corner because I want the inner corner shade to be like really bright, so it's a pop of color next to these other shades. And the best way to do that is with something white in the background, especially something that's like white and like a little bit grippy, you know? So I'm gonna pop that right on the inner corner. And now that that bright base is there, I'm gonna go into the shade E4 on my Luxie 141 Mini, which I cleaned off, and I'm gonna pop that yellow right over the white, just so it really, really stands out from the rest. For the waterline, I'm just gonna grab my Tarte Fake Awake pencil and just run that right through, brighten it up. I still have a little bit left over from the last look in there, but this will cover it right up. Oh God, guys, she's back. Barbara's here. Why? This might be a mistake because I am starting to get a little smidgen of the watery eye, just a smidgen coming out. But I feel like it'd be cool to pair this look with a winged liner. So I'm gonna try it anyway, even though it is against my better judgment. I use my Urban Decay Perversion Waterproof and just gonna create a nice thick wing. And you guys know that I like to make my wings really, really big. And if you don't like to do them that big, you could totally do the same look and just do it a little bit smaller. It still works. It's just a matter of personal preference. I'm gonna do the wing on the other eye, I'm gonna add some lashes, and then we'll pair this with a lip. I add the lashes. I'm so happy that I decided to go with the wing because I really like the way the black is making the oranges pop. And I don't remember if I said this in the video or if I just said it to myself in my own brain. The original plan was I was gonna do a berry lip with this, but a matte one. But oh no, my friend, I've changed my mind. I'm gonna take my beloved and arguably overused Torch liner from Urban Decay, and I'm gonna use it as a lip liner, and I'm gonna fill the middle in with an Anastasia liquid lipstick that I got a million billion years ago in the shade Ashton. This is like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a earthy, undertoned, orangey. It's kind of like an orangey, undertoned nude. It's just a really good fall shade, and I think with the orangeness and this, it's gonna all come together very nicely. And this is the third look. Okay, so we're done with 3 looks with the third palette. So now I can kind of give you a little perspective on what I think of, like, what palette might be appropriate for you. I absolutely love Volume 1. I think Volume 1 is one of the most interesting arrangements of colors I've seen in a while, because it's just odd. It's strange. It's got blues and purples and pinks and all these unicorn shades, but then you have like mustard yellows in there and stuff. And if you want a palette that's going to push you to try different color combinations, then Volume 1 is your girl. Volume 2 is high quality. I had a fun time playing with it, but to be honest with you, of the 3, this one is just not so much for me. I am not as much drawn to the blue and green shades that dominate this palette. Blue and green shades, especially mattes, are notoriously very difficult, and I didn't find that anything was very difficult to work with in this palette. Overall, it's a great palette, but it's just not the one that works the most for me. If you're somebody who lives for a bright blue, you're going to absolutely love this one though. Volume 3, the one we played with today, to be honest, I think this is tied for my favorite with number 1. Of all 3, I think this is the one that if you're looking for something that is a little bit colorful, but you can also use day to day, this is the one that's for you, because there are a lot of neutrals in here, and the neutrals that are in this one are really interesting and kind of, I don't want to say unique because they're neutrals, but they do have thought put into them. Like, they look like they could be very similar, but when you apply them, they do have a different undertone. Like, each one serves a little bit of a different purpose, and I really appreciate that. I also really appreciate that there are like really rich caramelly neutrals in here, and also more like chestnut neutrals, along with all of the pops of color. Overall, I think this palette is absolutely stellar. I love this one. I have a really hard time choosing between this one and number 1, but this might be my favorite. I'm not sure. I can't choose between the first one and the third one, but I really, really like this one. As far as this series of palettes in general, first of all, to do 3 palettes, a huge colorful palettes back to back like that, that's really cool. Also, I think that the quality on these is absolutely outstanding. I do think that there are some repeat shades within the palettes. Just a quick example, I know this is like a terrible swatch, but this is shade B1 from Volume 3 and C1 from Volume 2. And you know, they're a little bit different if you look close, but they are really similar. And there are quite a few examples that are similar to that throughout this series of palettes. Not that they're similar in color to those specifically, but that they're similar in that they're also like kind of dupes for each other. So do I think you need all 3 of them? No, probably not. I don't think that that's necessary, but do I think that they're great palettes? Absolutely. Personally, if I had to go back in time, I wouldn't change anything because I would probably want to make all 3 videos anyway, but if I was buying them for my own personal use and not for a video, I would probably go back and choose number 1 and number 3 and skip number 2, but that's just personal preference for me. I think you kind of just have to look at what color story speaks to you, what gets your juices flowing, what makes you want to slap a bunch of makeup on your face and have a good time. Like, I think that's the way to look at it. I asked this in the last video, but it could be different now that you've seen the third one. Please let me know in a comment down below which one of these you think is the one for you. You know where I stand. I'm having a hard time choosing between 1 and 3. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you found it helpful or entertaining, or you liked the looks, or you just want to help me out, because it is very helpful. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you're newish around here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, because I would love to have you around for more videos in the future. I picked up the Morphe 3503 Fierce by Nature palette. So I'm probably going to do a video on that pretty soon. If you're curious to see what some looks with that look like, that's what's going to be coming up. If you want to keep up with me between videos, see what's coming up here on the channel, take part in polls, see PR unboxings, just kind of keep up with my day-to-day whatevers, then go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Ms. Quintface, and I also post other stuff over there like lip art that I don't do here on this channel. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any of that. I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate every one of you, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, I concealed and powdered. Delectable. Oh, my, lordy me. The little lippy. To deepen it a little bit, I'm gonna pick up, add my lashes, and then we'll pair this with a look. I'll pair this with a look. This is a look.